I'm ready, Kimber.
Oh,
Let's go.
okay. Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to speak to you this morning. So we'll jump right in if that's okay.
Let's jump.
So everyone knows you from Blackish and scores of television and movie roles, but what's lesser known is your role in spreading awareness about diabetes. Talk about how is this personal to you? How did you get involved, and what does this mean to you?
It's personal to me because I was diagnosed 21 years ago as a type 2 diabetic. First person diagnosed in my family. Then my mom was diagnosed a few years later. And subsequently, we found out that my father had been living with diabetes for more than 20 years, undiagnosed, and then eventually lost his battle with the disease. So that's why it's personal for me to, you know, give my testimony, share my story, and hope that, other people in the community will listen and hear, so they don't have to go through what, me and my family went through, and thousands and hundreds of thousands of other families are going through. So that's why I partnered with Novo Nordisk to start this campaign, Get Real About Diabetes. We've created a website, getrealaboutdiabetes.com, that they can go to get information. And that's why I'm here, to help spread that information and spread the word.
Great. Talk a little bit about what Get Real does. Do they is it an informational? Do they have webinars? Share a little bit about what their mission is and what they do.
It's informational. We also create content that I star in, just talking about what can happen, what has happened, and just sharing information. Where we are right now, we're talking about cardiovascular health, and how, as a type 2 diabetic, you're up to 4 times more likely to die from cardiovascular disease, heart attack, or stroke because of diabetes. 50% of all type 2 diabetics don't even believe in that, or know that. And so that's why it's important that we, share this information and get people out and get people coming to the website, so they can get the information for themselves and share it within their community and within their families. That's why it's important for people within our community and in the Hispanic community as well. Hispanics are 50% more likely to have this disease and perish from it than non-Hispanics. So it's affecting us all. So we all need to take heed to it.
And do you get a sense that we just are not, you mentioned all these statistics, and then, they're so startling that, African Americans are, 60% more likely than non-Hispanic whites to be diagnosed with diabetes. These are some pretty, startling statistics. Do you feel like awareness is just not there? Do you feel like, a lot more education needs to be had? What's your take on where we are in terms of awareness?
I don't know. It's not. I don't want to say it's not about awareness, because we know about this disease.
Yep.
Our community calls the disease the sugars.
Yeah.
We know what it is, and that there's nothing sweet about being a diabetic.
Yeah.
The information has always been there. The information is there. It's about us, taking the time to find that information. And once we get the information, it's up to us to implement that into our lifestyle, and make those changes that we need to make to be healthy. And some of us are just set in our ways. I can speak from experience with my father, being, from Little Rock, Arkansas, and the mentality that he had, and, just not going to the doctor to get checked up, just things like that. A lot of men in my family, and a lot of men in general, aren't going to the doctor's office unless they have an appendage falling off, and by then it's too late. So it's just about us, encouraging family members in the community to get the information, and being there as a support group to help them every step of the way. And that's what Get Real About Diabetes is all about, being that support group and that crutch that people can use and come to get the information that they need.
Gotcha. What were some of your early signs? You mentioned being diagnosed in your 20s. What were some early signs and what made you go to the doctor and get checked out?
I went to the doctor because I thought I was just burning the candle at both ends. And I was creating my first television show all about the Andersons. I was on a 14-city tour in 16 days promoting a movie, Kangaroo Jack. And I was, I'm just tired. I need to take a break. And I just found myself being lethargic and taking midday naps, which is something that was out of the ordinary for me. And one day, and then one night, late night, in the wee hours of the morning, I drank 5 gallons of water. And that's when, but it was just a vicious cycle. I'd go to the restroom, I'd come back, drink some water. As soon as I drank the water, I had to go to the restroom. But once in the restroom, I had to go drink again.
Wow.
And that's when I was like, oh my God, I think I have diabetes. But, and I didn't want to claim it, but I went to the doctor, got tested. They ran some blood and came back that my glucose level was in the 200s and that I was diagnosed as a diabetic that night. And, again, what I learned from that, doing my research of being a type 2 diabetic, is about cardiovascular health and how that ties into a diabetic, and how that's putting me at greater risk for a stroke, a heart attack, or cardiovascular disease. And, I think that's an important message to get out there to people so they can know and understand the trifecta that they're about to be hit with by being diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic. And information is paramount. Health is wealth. And the more we know about something, the better off we can be. And the earlier we know about it, the better off we can be. So that's why, we're here encouraging people to go to the doctor to get checked up and to go to the website, getrealaboutdiabetes.com, to get all the information that they can.
What are some lifestyle changes you made once you were diagnosed, or did it take you a minute to sort of make those adjustments?
It took a minute to make those adjustments just because we're just set in our ways. And then, you realize, okay, well, I'm not getting any better and I'm only making this worse to continue down this path. Lifestyle changes for me, making healthier choices about what I put into my body. Exercising, a body in motion stays in motion. Things like that. Clearing my mind for a better mental state, meditating, grounding myself in the morning, walking around my backyard barefoot and just grounding myself to start my day. So those are the things, those are the changes that I made. And, I share that with people, and people always respond was like, well, you can afford the best trainers, you can afford the best doctors, you can afford the best gyms. You're a celebrity. I was like, that's true. I was like, but I don't need any of that. I can walk around my block. I can walk around my neighborhood. I can walk around the park. I don't need weights. I can take, we can get primitive with it. We can take a couple of cans of canned goods out of our cabinet and walk holding those canned goods, walk up the stairs or down the stairs as opposed to taking the elevator. There's simple things that we can do. Drink more water than soda or coffee or whatever your drink may be, because I guarantee you, you're not drinking enough water. 100%. So, just simple things. And, after a while, it becomes a part of your lifestyle. It just becomes daily routine.
I'm really glad you mentioned these things that anyone can do, because I do think that people have the tendency to say, oh, you're a celebrity, you can afford these things, but there are some very affordable, basic things you can do to really try to prevent, to get in front of this if, you have the propensity. So I'm glad you mentioned.
It doesn't cost anything to do jumping jacks in your backyard.
Right.
It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah. Anybody can find a canned good.
Exactly. Exactly. You can get an old sheet and tie it up and jump rope with that.
So yes. We'll continue. What advice would you give someone who is newly diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and they're nervous, they don't know what to do? As someone who also, has type 2, what would you say? What advice would you give?
Listen to your doctor. Listen to the endocrinologist. Don't think you're going to do this on your own without listening to the advice that your medical or health official is giving you. Don't think it's like, I'll just stop. I'll be good. No. It doesn't work that way. And the sooner that you listen to your doctor, and the sooner you get on the program that they put you on, the healthier that you can become. So that's what I would say. I would say, don't try to say, oh, well, I'll just cut back on this Kool-Aid that I'm drinking. I won't drink Kool-Aid no more and I'll be good. No, it doesn't work that way. Once you're diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, make the lifestyle changes that you have to make. And I'm not asking you to make drastic changes overnight, do them gradually over time. So it's not that much of a shock to you. It's not that much of a withdrawal from you. If you slowly remove things out of your life, you won't miss them. It's when it's like, oh, I can't eat sugar, I can't eat chocolate, I can't do this. When, a knee-jerk reaction isn't beneficial to you. So, stick to your plan that your doctor is giving you and slowly remove the things. I can only speak to you about how it worked for me. Slowly remove those things, and it works better for you that way. At least it did for me.
That's great. What's the monitoring like? Or is it something that, maybe people might feel once they're diagnosed that now I have this, health situation that I have to continue to pay attention to. And that might be a reason for them not to be as vigilant and do the things that they need to do because they might feel overwhelmed by the diagnosis.
I would say, I didn't mean to cut you off, Kim, but I'm sorry, but you asked what the monitoring is like. I would say talk to their doctors. There's several monitoring devices that you can get. Very small. They're very small and they're not intrusive at all. And you can just put them on, your shoulder, on your gut, on your buttocks, and it monitors your glucose level throughout the day. And a beautiful thing about it, it will see your trends. It will monitor it. You wear them 24 hours a day for a week or 2 weeks at a time, and it will tell you how your blood is spiking in your sleep, because that's what mine was doing. I could get on my treadmill, run 3 miles, and my blood sugar would be 86 before I go to bed at night. And I wake up and it'll be 220. And I have no idea how it got there. Well, wearing my monitoring device showed me when it started to spike. And then my doctors would be able to tell me why it was spiking that way.
Interesting.
Based on my body and all of that. So I would say talk to everyone who was newly diagnosed, talk to your doctor about a monitoring device. And you can keep track of it with your smartphone, and all you have to do is look at it. No longer need to prick your finger to see what your blood sugar is, to see how much insulin you need to take, or how you, whatever. It's there in real time. So that's what I would suggest as well.
And because of the link between diabetes and cardiovascular disease, do you also have to have, get monitoring? Do you go to a cardiologist at the same time? How does that show up in terms of, taking care of your heart health? What do you have to do?
But that's up to the doctor to recommend who and how you should speak to, but it's something that you have to keep watch on. That's what I've been doing. There are no symptoms to that. There are no symptoms. You have no idea when a heart attack is going to come, when a stroke is going to come, or when how heart disease is going to happen. Those things just happen. And they happen to the healthiest of people, and they happen to those people that are in poor health. But I guarantee you, your survival rate is much better if you've been seeing your doctor and they've given you a program to be a part of, and you stay to it. So that's what I would suggest doing. Talking to your doctor about all of the scenarios that could happen with you. and go to our website, getrealaboutdiabetes.com, and they will talk about the direct correlation of cardiovascular health, stroke, and heart attack, and how it relates to type 2 diabetics. So you can see, because I didn't know this when I was diagnosed as a diabetic, but you will see that everything that goes along with that. And so that will prompt you to ask the questions that you have to ask to your doctor. It's like, well, doctor, I read this. Is this true? And your doctor will be like, oh, yes, that is true. Well, where did you get that information? Or how do you know about that?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, this is something else that I read about on this website or whatnot. And he was like, yeah, I'm glad you went there. I'm glad you got that information, because a lot of people don't know this information.
Yeah.
50% of everybody that's a type 2 diabetic, doesn't believe that they'll be affected by cardiovascular disease or heart attack or stroke. Half the people that are diagnosed with this disease doesn't think it's going to happen to them or aren't aware of it, but it is, and it's something that it's just simple information that's there for us all to read and understand.
And that's ultimately your goal with Get Real, is that, if there's a win to come out of this, it's just that people are informed, they know the questions to ask. What would you like to come out of your work with Get Real?
Just information. And hopefully that information that we have there is saving lives. And hopefully the information that we have is providing or helping people live healthier lives. And that's a community that comes together.
Awesome. Well, that's a great note to end on. I do want to ask one question. You are moving from California to New York. Is right to film your to Law and Order, or were you
it's already happened. I'm bi-coastal. Yes.
How does your, this change, what adjustments do you make when you're moving from, one coast to the next? Is it more, you can do a lot of more walking now that you're in New York to kind of help manage your type 2 diabetes? What shifts have you made moving, in terms of monitoring your diabetes when you're having to move across the country?
Now it's just a lifestyle for me, being in the gym and being active. Here in New York, it's a walking city. So I get out in the city and I walk, but I also have a gym that I'm a member of, and I go into the gym and I get on the treadmill. I take stairs when I feel like taking stairs. So nothing's really changed for me. It's just a way of life for me now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Anthony, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate your work, your advocacy, your voice, and thank you again, and good luck with your new endeavors.
Thank you, Kimber.
Return to your endeavors. Thank you so much. Take care.
You too, love.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Goodbye.